What's up, you guys? It's Aisling and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I haven't actually done an advice video in ages, and I just realized I used to do them a lot like back in the day. I'm actually so cold today. I don't know why. I feel like there's like just a coldness all around me. Ugh. Today I am going to be talking about a topic that is a little bit touchy, and I don't really know how exactly I'm going to structure this because I have no notes on it for the first time ever. I'm going to speak from the heart, I think. I think that's the best way to do this video, and it's the way that I want to structure this video. So basically this video is targeted at people who are going through a little bit of a rough time at the moment. I'm going to talk about like some rough times that I've had in my past, what have helped me, and everything regarding the whole situation and just not feeling good. And if you're just having a really rough time of it, like where do you go? What steps do you take? Maybe you've just stumbled upon this video and you're just like a little bit lost at the moment. You don't really know how to progress or what you should be doing, or you know, maybe this video might help you. It might not help anybody, but if this just helps one person, then I'm happy enough. I want to give a trigger warning before I start this video. I just want to let you guys know that I am going to be talking about suicide, eating disorders, depression, anxiety, and stuff like that in this video. If you are not in the form to listen to something like that, I would recommend exiting the video. If you want to get to the advice as to how to help yourself, I'll maybe leave like a timestamp or something in the comments or something like that. But in general, it's going to be like there's heavy stuff going to be talked about in this video, so just watch it at your own discretion and just protect yourself while you are watching it. Just make sure that you are able for some of the things I'm going to be discussing. That's all I just want to say before I get into the topic. So I'm going to kind of start with myself, I guess, and giving you a little bit of background on like situations that I've been through. When I was 13, one of the hardest things that ever happened to me was I lost a near and dear friend to suicide, which obviously is like traumatic enough to deal with somebody that you love passing away that way, but at 13 trying to comprehend it was a little bit of a struggle for me, and I just didn't really kind of understand. I didn't really understand what was happening. I didn't really understand how I was feeling. I didn't really get any clarity at all as to what had happened. It was very whirlwind. It's not like, I know when somebody passes away when they're sick, it's, you know, still very upsetting and traumatic. But when somebody dies suddenly, I feel like it's extremely painful and extremely difficult to deal with anybody's passing. But especially, sorry, my nose is like running. I feel like I have like hay fever or something. But especially when someone passes suddenly, it takes like a whole whirlwind effect on you, because you have to deal with the grief and then the anger, and then you have to go through all these different like steps before you finally get to the acceptance stage of what's happened. And the acceptance stage doesn't automatically happen overnight. It takes a bit of time, it takes a bit of work, it takes support, it takes maybe counseling, it takes a ton of different steps to get to the acceptance stage. So that's kind of like the first like really traumatic thing that happened to me. So I guess the next big traumatic thing didn't happen to me until maybe 18 months ago, or like even 2 years ago, which was the breakup of my long-term relationship. So I was going out with someone for 9.5 years. Long story short, we were together since we were teenagers. I guess like we wanted two different things in our relationship. I wanted it to progress. He didn't, and we eventually split up. I guess there was nothing really else to discuss in regards to that. That was just the way it was, and a lot of it is private and I don't really want to go into it, but I feel like a lot of that was my major tough time in life, and it went on for months. Do you know what? I sat down this morning and I was like, this is the perfect time to film this video, because you're feeling really good. You're feeling really happy, like I'm on top of the world at the moment. But I guess when I go back to like old memories, it's pretty difficult to kind of bring them back up to the surface. Relationship ended. I went through the phase of being like, this is for the best. This is the best thing ever. And then I went through the whole bargaining phase, which you do even if you're grieving for someone who's passed away. You don't even have to feel like you're going through a rough time because there's a circumstance causing it. Sometimes it's just an imbalance in our brains that causes the feeling like this, or sometimes it can be just, you know, you could be just going through a tough time because for whatever reason, there could be multiple different reasons why you're going through a tough time. You don't have to have a circumstance to cause you to go through a rough time. I'm just explaining my circumstance as to why I went through a rough time. So then I went through like this bargaining phase when like, I don't want to break up, you know, I will do anything it takes not to part ways, you know, I don't want this. And he obviously told me, no, I've made my decision, I don't want to be with you anymore. And I had to try and process that. Obviously that was a difficult stage in my life to try and process because I'd been with that person since I was a teenager. We've been with each other all our lives and we were very much in love when we were together. We were very much passionate about each other, and even up until the day we broke up, I was still in love with him. I didn't want to split up, but I also didn't want to like not have the things that I want in my life also, and I felt that he was not going to be the person that was able to give them to me. So I went through grief then next. Yeah, the grief stage is difficult, and even thinking about it now, like it brings back up those emotions. So I'm not going to like talk too much about the grief stage or talk too much about grief in general, because I think you guys get the picture. You know what it feels like. For me, it was severe suicidal thoughts, not wanting to progress at all in life or move on at all in life. It's very, very stagnant energy, very stagnant. Couldn't move, progress, nothing. Other things were obviously my eating disorder was at its peak, so I had no energy. I was under 7 stone. I think I was like 44 kilos, something like that, something crazy, which was I think 80 pounds. I was gonna say I think I was 98 pounds or something like that. That's not important. At like my brink, we'll say, at that time, going through everything you could imagine: insomnia, panic attacks, imbalance in my life in general, unable to work. Massive part, I was not able to sit down and work. Even remembering it is very, very, very difficult. To think that that was that girl, like, it was horrible to think that that was that girl compared to this girl today, which is a very different girl. All those kind of like emotions are going on: hopelessness, depression, severe anxiety, panic attacks, not being able to sleep, not being able to eat, a whole litany of different things, and like meanwhile trying to control my eating at the same time. And it was just awful. It was horrendous. It was horrific, in fact. Why it was so bad for me, I don't know. I don't really understand, because I guess like some people get over things a lot quicker. People get over breakups a lot quicker. People move on a lot quicker. You know, it depends on the person themselves. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about steps to make yourself feel better and to actually improve your life. For me, this video is way more important to talk about how to actually get solutions and kind of help you. I'm not going to say like fix you or like make you like better, but how to just help you, obviously get you to progress a little bit. So the first step that I did was I had to admit that I needed help. I had to admit to my family I needed help. I may have been possibly in denial that I needed help as well. So if that's how you're feeling, maybe you're like, no, I can do this on my own. I can do this on my own. Sometimes you do need a third party or someone just to step in and be like, look, you actually need to get help. First step I did was I went to my GP. So I recommend going to a professional. Sometimes your family are amazing, sometimes not so much. I think it's best to go and see someone outside of your immediate family or your family. So obviously going to see my general practitioner was really, really important. Now the next thing I'm going to tell you is obviously on her recommendations. I was recommended to go on medication. So I went on medication for a couple of months. I'm not going to talk about the medication or anything like that, because I feel like that is the job of your, like I said, your doctor, your general practitioner. It is their job to kind of clarify if you need to go on medication or what medication would be most suitable for you. So just because I was on something doesn't mean it would necessarily be suitable for everyone. It was one of my biggest lifesavers at the time. Now I would have thought at that time, don't want to take medication, I don't think that's going to work at all. But believe me, it actually changed me going forward. It really changed me just for what I needed it for, which was like a crutch that I called it. Some people need to be on medication for 4 months, 10 months, 2 years, 5 years, life. It depends on the individual. But for me, the time and the period that I was on medication, it was very, very, very beneficial for me. Medication didn't start to kind of kick in till maybe about 3 weeks in to my prescription. So I was given initially a 3 months prescription, and I think roughly around the 3-week mark is when I started to notice a bit of a difference. And the first thing that I noticed was I wasn't waking up in the morning with that kind of pang of anxiety in my chest. The unknown, kind of like wondering what's going to happen. And the sheer panic of just kind of like everything and nothing. You know, nothing was actually happening to me. I was just going through a hard time, a really tough time. So there was nothing actually physically happening to me. I wasn't sick, you know, physically. Nobody in my family was ill. There was nothing kind of really like going on in my life, if that makes sense, other than obviously I had gone through a really tough breakup, but I was still kind of like dealing with that and putting my life back together. But I just found like no matter what I did, no matter what I read, no matter, you know, how many walks I went on, nothing helped as much as my medication. Now again, like I said, that is not for everybody, and it's not something I'm saying to you to go out and talk to your doctor and request this. It's not for everybody, but again, it might help in certain circumstances. So next, once I started like taking medication, I made it my job every day to get out of the house. And it was great because at the time I was living at home. My family were around, they were coming home every evening, the house was busy. They were, you know, keeping an eye on me, they were talking to me, and obviously Chewy was here. So he was my perfect excuse to go out for a walk. He needed to be brought for a walk, and it was my job every day to bring him for a walk. Now, some days I wasn't able to, but I tried to. I also listened to the advice of friends and stuff, and a lot of them did give me amazing advice, like things like just get dressed every day, because I was sitting around in my pajamas, not getting dressed, not eating, not doing anything, barely working. I think at that time I was uploading maybe 1 video a week, so I wasn't filming at all. Like, whereas now I'll film here twice a week, so I'll film about 6 videos. So I was barely filming a video once a week, and I was living here. So it was a really tough time. Really tough. Now, the next thing I did was I started going to exercise classes. Now, I went to a personal trainer. Again, that's not for everybody. That's just what I did because I was very embarrassed, very ashamed of my body. Oh, I hate even thinking about it. I honestly didn't think this video would be hard to film, especially because I'm in like such good form. Like, I'm in like the best form I've ever been in my whole entire life. Like a whole year of just feeling great. I said like today was the day, and now I just feel really upset thinking. Anyway, I went to one of my best friends, Shane. I've known Shane for years, so I went to go to train with Shane, and Shane did a personal training, and oh my god, Shane gave me like a massive discount off it because he was like, Ashling, like, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with you in the gym, but he was like, I don't want all your money. So I was like paying him like personal trainer rates, and he was giving me mates rates. He was so kind, and he was like, I just want to help you whatever way I can. I would lift weights, and I would not lift weights, I would like, they were not even that heavy. I was literally doing the minimum amount in the gym, but it was just to kind of get me sweating, just to kind of get me moving. He used to get me to sprint, and he used to get me to do things that would get me moving. Now, I was in there a few times, and not gonna lie, like, I definitely spewed a few times been in there. Again, that was just the way that my body was. It was so weak and malnourished. Shane was like, look, just do whatever you can. He was like, if you can do nothing, just come in and talk to me even. Just try and do something though. Try and, you know, walk up and down or lift a few weights or anything just to get your endorphins up. We might do like sit-ups or press-ups or push-ups or something just to get me to like start sweating in any way that I could, and I did, and it helped so much. So I cannot stress how important exercising is if you're going through a rough time. Any sort of exercise, a brisk walk, a little run, a stroll with a friend, even if you want to go to classes, very important. Then I took up yoga, which again was one of my saving graces. Yoga is obviously all about breathing, it's all about meditation, it's all about being present, it's all about like serenity, taking care of your body and your soul and your mind and everything. And it's very deep, it's very spiritual as well. So if you are considering yoga, I highly recommend it. Now, I know a lot of people said, oh, I'm not into that, you know, the breathing exercise and stuff. Like, it's too slow paced for me. It's not exciting enough. It's not getting my endorphins up enough, whatever it may be. I said, that's okay. You don't have to do yoga, but I do recommend meditation of some sort, because it is very important just to get yourself kind of like balanced and grounded and kind of like back to earth. And, you know, we are all made up of energy. So it's really good to get your energy levels, you know, to try and stabilize them basically, because I think when you're going through a tough time, suffer from depression, anxiety, whatever it may be, I feel like your whole body is going like this, whereas I feel like it needs to be kind of like centered like this. Now, I have absolutely no training in yoga, meditation, anything like that. I just researched an awful lot of videos on YouTube as to how to do it. And then I went to yoga classes and I still go to them now. So whatever works for you will work for you. So maybe you have gone to yoga, you don't like it, that's fair enough, but I'm just saying that it really, 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 really helped me. Other things that really helped me was starting to eat better. That took months. I'd say like my eating disorder was probably at its worst from maybe the December until I want to say like April, like the worst. Like I'd lost over 2 stone, like well over 2 stone. I had lost an awful lot of weight, so I had very little muscle density, and that's why I was saying that yoga was really, really good for me, and then doing brisk walks and like the little bit of exercise that Shane would get me to do when we were doing PT. It was more so that I was actually getting out of the house, I feel, more so than anything. It was me being out in the house, talking to other people, kind of discussing different topics. Nobody was asking me, so how are you getting on? You know, how's everything going with the breakup? How's everything going on with your life? You know, how's the anxiety? How's, you know, the panic attacks going? Nobody was asking me anything like that. Again, in my home house, you know, they were keeping a close eye on me to make sure I was like eating properly and stuff. So I found that talking to different people was great, because not only did they give you like different insights, they talked about different topics. They're different groups of people as well. Like outside of my circle of friends, they were different. So they didn't know anything about me, I didn't know anything about them, and we would just discuss the weather. Or my nose is running so bad. I feel like I need to go blow my nose. Obviously like a combination of everything, but definitely one of my biggest saviors was meeting John. I'm not saying I needed John to help me, I definitely helped myself more so, but John was like the catalyst to my change in direction in life, the way I looked at things, the way I spoke about things, everything. John and I know each other 3 years. We have been friends for a long time. So when I met John initially, we were friends, and we were friends all along throughout our relationship. And then he invited me to Vietnam. He just knew that I needed to get out of Ireland. I needed to get away from the area that I live in, because it's quite small, so everybody knows everybody and they kind of like bump into people, and you know, it's just kind of one of those areas that's just like everybody knows everyone and everybody knows your business, or they think they know your business. I needed to leave Ireland. I had to leave Ireland. So I went out to Vietnam on the 9th of April. So we're nearly at that date now, a whole year ago. And I went out to John and I had the best experience ever. I think I grew more as a person in the space of maybe 3 months than I had done in my entire life ever before, ever. So what had happened to me is I went out to Vietnam, and then I also went to China with John. So I learned an awful lot about traveling. I'd never traveled before, and now it's like in my DNA. I'm like, I have to travel. It's constantly on my mind about traveling and going to different places, going to different destinations. It's just a massive part of my life now that I wished I had experienced way more throughout my younger years and stuff like that. But like, you're never too old to go traveling. John's mum actually met this lovely gentleman like 2 days ago. She was out having a meal, and she bumped into this guy, and he was so lovely, and they were talking to each other, and he told her that he's driving a camper van around the whole of Europe. And she was like, oh my god, that's unbelievable. He's 60 years of age, so you're never too old to travel, ever. So even if you're like looking at this video going, yeah, well, I'm like 60 and, you know, where would I be going traveling? Of course you can go traveling. Like, you can do it. You don't have to go for a long time. I went for 6.5 weeks. So it wasn't like a really long time, but it was long enough, I suppose. Like, but you can go for like 2 weeks. You could do like a little traveling trip around Thailand for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? You can go to these places. I feel that Vietnam was probably the best place for me to ever go, because it is very spiritual. There's no material things over there. People are quite poor, and it made me appreciate even more than I ever have done before for the small things that I do have. It just made me appreciate them, because I see the people and how happy they are, and they have next to nothing. They are quite poor. Not all of them are poor, obviously, but some of them do live in very, like, they do live in poverty. A massive part of me at that stage was learning to be grateful. That is a huge part of my life that I had never really kind of like developed previously, and that was gratitude and giving gratitude and being grateful for these smallest things, my family, for John, for my health, for the fact that I am able to turn my life around, for the fact that I am able to work, that I have this amazing job, that I can travel and work at the same time, that I have a fantastic manager, that I have fantastic parents, I live in a fantastic country, I live in a country that is, you know, you have a lot of free will. I don't live in a country where I'm being judged on my race, my sexuality, or my cultural backgrounds or anything. Like, I'm in a very open-minded country, even though sometimes it can be narrow-minded, but in general it's quite an open-minded country. So I became very grateful, and I do recommend, if that is something you're struggling with, and you know, think of other people as well, and just be grateful for the smallest things that you have. Because someone told me this, I can't remember if it was when I was traveling or if John may have even said this to me. Things that you have that you may not be grateful for, they're things that people wish that they had in their lives. For instance, if you have a running car, maybe someone just wants to have their own car. If you live in a lovely, safe environment, maybe somebody out there wants that too. If you have great parents, maybe somebody out there wants that as well. Whatever it may be, find gratitude in the smallest amount of things that you actually have and just be grateful for them, because somebody else wishes that they had them. So you should be grateful and appreciative of them. They're very important to you as well. If you really look deep down inside, don't look at what you don't have, look at what you do have. So the next thing that was like helped me so much was actually going for counselling. When I came home in, I think it was the end of May, beginning of June, I started going to a counsellor once a week. I thought initially I may need to go a little bit more, but she said that I'd done an awful lot of the work on my own, but I probably should have come to her sooner. However, I went to my counsellor. I'm still on my medication at the same time, and I was gone back. I backtracked a little bit at this stage. I maybe taken 10 steps forward but one back, and that was definitely in regards to my eating, and definitely in regards to like the trauma from my previous relationship, because it was traumatic. It was very traumatic, and the end of it was extremely traumatic for me, because I did mention in another video, I don't want to go into that, but like after we had a breakup, we never spoke ever again. An awful lot of people would probably say, yeah, but what do you expect? You're not together anymore. Obviously that was fair enough, but we never got to have an actual discussion and kind of like talk things out and air things out and kind of get on good terms with one another. It was left very angry, and it was very angry on both parts. So I had to go to counselling to help with my anger at that stage, because I got into the anger stage of the whole relationship. I'm going out with John at this stage, and he knew, like, he was just like, you're still kind of in this angry phase. He was like, I recommend that you go to counselling. He was like, it'll help. So it did. It helped me a million times. It was one of the best things I did along my road at that stage, because obviously I don't think counselling would have helped me too much in the early days. I was just way too upset. I wouldn't have been able to listen to anything my counsellor would have said. Once I kind of like balanced my whole mind out with the medication and then like traveling a little bit, and I kind of got away from the whole situation, it was the best thing that happened. And then the counselling in June was amazing. So I still go to counselling now. I don't go to counselling like very, very regularly, just when I need to go to counselling. And I do yoga once a week, so I keep that up all the time. So other things that kind of helped me, now this is kind of like something that you'd be like, don't believe in it, not interested. If you don't believe in it and you're not interested in it, then that is absolutely completely and utterly fair enough. But it is something that I'm very, very passionate about, something I believe in quite a lot, and without this I just feel like my healing would have been an awful lot slower, and that is law of attraction. So sorry guys, my battery just died. I was talking about law of attraction. So again, like I said, if this is not something that you are interested in and you just think that it's maybe a bit silly, that's fair enough. You can have your own opinion on that. That's perfectly fine. We're all free to have our own opinions here. Just, I do ask you just to be a bit respectful. Everybody has their own belief system, and just That's all I want to say in regards to that. Law of attraction is a massive part of my life and has been for the last, I would say since I was young, because I think I watched The Secret, which is most people's introduction to law of attraction. I watched that years and years and years ago. I think now I've kind of gotten a deeper understanding of it. I don't really think I felt like I understood it at all back then. And I am a massive believer in law of attraction, obviously, because I know that our bodies are made up of energy. I know we're made up of atoms. So I understand that we are made up of, energy. And I do feel like if you are a positive thinker, if you think nothing else other than about the law of attraction, that positive thinking attracts positive things, then you're done. That's all you need to know. And I have just found, since doing an awful lot of law of attraction, practicing it, reading like Jerry and Esther Hicks' book and about Abraham Hicks, and just I absolutely adore law of attraction and just the spiritual side of it as well. And I think a lot of that comes with like meditation and stuff, and it does help, and it helps me breathe and like ground myself. And it also gives me a little bit of purpose as well. When I was going through really tough times, it gave me purpose. I absolutely adore, obviously, listening to any seminars by Esther Hicks, anything. I love Jake Ducey, if you've ever watched him, and I also love his wife Ashley. She's gorgeous as well. And then Leora Alexandra, which I'll leave a link to all those down below. They're like my favorite people to watch for law of attraction videos. Jake Ducey is definitely by far my favorite. By all means, go watch him because he is amazing. He just gets you feeling happy. He gets you feeling like pumped and just excited about the day. And sometimes he'll just tell you just to smile. He would just like, smile. Because when you do smile, it just makes you feel better. So I'm not going to go into law of attraction in this video because it's just extremely complex. And me obviously being very inquisitive that I am, I research an awful lot of it. So I do research a lot about law of attraction, and I practice it every day, multiple times a day, all the time. I'm always writing lists of things that I wish to achieve. I do an awful lot of scripting as well. So scripting is another massive part of me healing. And if I was going through a rough time, it helped so much because it made me imagine a life different to the one that I was experiencing. We'll say way back before I met John and I was going through heartbreak, I would write about a happy time. I would write about a time when I wasn't heartbroken, when I was really happy, and maybe I was on holidays, or like I wrote loads of things. I can't remember, like I wrote loads of things, but it instantly lifted my mood and gave me a more positive outlook. And I actually genuinely felt that those things would happen. I even scripted my whole journey around China and Vietnam with John. Like once I found out what we were doing, like that I was going out to him, I didn't know what we were going to be doing out there, but I wrote everything, like things I wanted to see, like people I wanted to encounter, and it all happened, everything. So I'm a firm believer of it, and it just makes you feel good, and whatever makes you feel good is the most important thing. It doesn't matter what it is. If throwing a ball against the wall makes you feel good, do it. Whatever makes you feel good when you're going through a rough time, believe me, you will appreciate the smallest things if it just makes you feel good. The final thing that I kind of participated a lot in, and I actually regret that I didn't discover law of attraction sooner, because it actually helped me become a lot more spiritual. Now, I don't want to get into that because, again, that's kind of like my own private kind of growth and private kind of experience, but I did develop I have grown so much more spiritual in the last few months. Even definitely had like that kind of like epiphany when I was in Vietnam, of just been like, wow, like life is to be enjoyed and to live to the max and to be fulfilled. And again, it could have been because I was taking medication. It was making me see a bit clearer. I wasn't waking up, like I said, with the anxiety. And I think that life is for enjoying, and that's the way I wake up every day, speaking to myself. Life is for enjoying. Be happy. Life is to enjoy. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be happy. We all go through struggles. That is just one of those things. You will go through a struggle. Some days you feel like you're hitting your head off a brick wall, and I've been there too. But you'll discover, like, if you look around the brick wall, there's a door somewhere. So just open it and go through it. Take a step back, look at the whole picture, and realize that it's actually not as bad as you do think it is. Now, there are certain circumstances where it can be just as bad, and that's why I say please go and get professional help. If you're beyond using stuff like law of attraction and, you know, going for walks with the dog, if you're beyond that point, then professional help is definitely recommended. I can touch upon other things that I've done with any of those like topics, if there's like, if you want a whole video on like my experience with the counselor, experience with the doctor, experience with medication, experience with anything, let me know. So I just want to finish off this video by saying that I don't have all the answers to fix you. I really don't. You have all the answers inside you. You honestly do. You're the only one that can make you feel better. If you don't feel good on the inside, you won't appreciate those people and you won't listen to a lot of the advice that they have to give. You have to want to be better. You have to want to improve your life. You have to want to not be going through a tough time anymore. And you just have to be like, that's it. I've had enough. I'm getting away from this tough stuff that's going on in my life and stuff that's really, really hurting me, whether it be depression or suicidal thoughts or self-harming or eating disorders, whatever it may be. You have to want to take that step forward, because there's nobody else that can make you want to do it. There's just not. There's nobody else that can do it. I do recommend, obviously, continue to have your friends around you, your family around you, good things around you, because they will help just mold you and get you a little bit further on the journey. And I feel like for myself, practicing law of attraction is probably where I got the most help within myself. And I started it way before, like I started actually genuinely practicing it way before I went to the doctor. So I found Jake Ducey's channel, I'd say in the December before I went to the doctor. And I just, it helped just to start the ball rolling. And then obviously the doctor helped, the medication helped, the going to the personal trainer, going to Vietnam to John, getting into a relationship with John that was much more fulfilling than anything I've ever been in before, being a little bit more spiritual, exercising more. And now I do all those things every day. Like every day I will do meditation, I'll practice like law of attraction things just for fun as well. I will do things like spend time with my friends, go to yoga, go to exercise, go for coffee, go travel around different parts of Ireland, plan trips, you know, talk to people, get out of the house, which is very important if you're self-employed, because getting out of the house is like one of the prime things, and it's a massive reason why I like to film here as well, because you get out of the house. So anyway guys, I really hope that that video has helped you in some way. I know there's a lot in it. I'll try and write little bullet points maybe in the description bar or in the comment section. I know it's different from any video I've ever done before, but I really wanted to do it today, and I don't know why I wanted to do it. I just wanted to do it. I just felt ready to do it. I just want to sit down. I wanted to talk to you guys, and I do hope that I've helped in some way. And just remember that the tough times that you're going through, no matter what it is that you're involved in, don't feel like your circumstance is not, you know, you're not validated in feeling the way you do feel. Because if you feel upset, you feel sad, you're having a tough time, you know yourself that you're going through a tough time. So that's why I do say go and get some sort of professional help, and don't listen to people saying, you're grand, you're fine, you'll get over it, because that's not helping anybody. If this video did help you, please give it a thumbs up. If there's any more advice videos you would like in the future, please let me know. I would love to help you in any way that I can. And also, if you can help anybody in the comment section, maybe if somebody is actually crying out for help or something, do comment back to them. I'll be looking through the comment section and I'll be keeping an eye on you guys as well. But I don't want you to feel, bottom line, that you're on your own. You're not on your own. Nobody's on their own. There's lots of support, and I just hope that I can give you a little bit if I can. And if I can't, then make sure that you do find it from the best place possible. Thanks so much guys for watching. Again, if there's any more advice videos you'd like to see, let me know, and I'll talk to all you guys in my next video. Bye guys.